welcome to our review of the film Lincoln, directed by Steven Spielberg and starring Daniel Day-Lewis as the title character Abraham Lincoln. I'm Chimney.
I'm Georgette.
And this film was released in 2012 and was critically acclaimed for Lewis's terrific and immersive acting.
Lincoln is a biographical drama which was released in 2011. It covers the last 4 months of Lincoln's 4 months. Lincoln tries to pass the 13th Amendment by the United States House of Representatives. Shortly after the amendment was passed, he was assassinated.
Now let's talk about these characters. I mean, you have two completely different actors in this movie, Daniel Day-Lewis versus Joseph Gordon-Levitt. And in my honest opinion, Levitt's background in sitcom acting does not benefit him at all here. I mean, I can see why Daniel Day-Lewis was nominated for so many awards and was critically acclaimed. He really pulled off this performance in such an oddly terrific way. Like, at times it seemed more like a documentary even than a scripted movie from years later. His character was truly noble and a strong man, and all of this was pulled off because of Daniel Day-Lewis's facial expressions and tone of voice. All of this compared to Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character as Lincoln's oldest son. It was not as believable and at some points hard to watch. Like in the scene where he sees the limbs of the fallen soldiers, like the legs and the arms and body parts. He turns to his father and he says that he wants to go to war, but it wasn't as believable because it didn't make sense why he would see the limbs and want to go to war. Like, all of this would have been made more clear if his facial expression wasn't just full disgust the whole time, if it was changed to like disgust, then a facial tone of I have to do something, not just a face, basically.
Yeah.
The acting wasn't Tyler Perry movie bad though, so.
I think along with effective acting is also costume and set design. And in my opinion, this movie did really well with set design and costume because it was shot in 2011, but the plot takes place in 1800s, which is a completely different era. So I think they had to go all out with the costume and set design, which they did really well on. One scene that really sticks out to me when I think of costume and set design is when they were in the courtroom on voting day. When the men had white suits and, white and black suits, and the women had big dresses. That's exactly what I would think of a courtroom in the 1800s.
Exactly, and that's very hard to pull off, especially in these days. So when I think about remarkable framing in the film, I also think about the courtroom scenes. I think about how they achieved this large effect while still making it seem crowded and people had to sit almost on top of each other, which really gave a real feeling to having 1,000 men in there.
That's true. Well, because they had to have so many of these characters, I think lighting also had to be really important. And the overall lighting of this film, I think, was both high-key and low-key lighting, because it wasn't, originally I thought it was low-key, but then I realized that low-key is a lot darker. But this film, I think they combined it both to give a sad feel to it, because during this time it wasn't very cheerfully, and yeah. So I think they used both low-key and high-key lighting.
So how do you feel about the film overall?
Overall, I think that it was kind of hard to follow. Mm-hmm. Do you agree?
I totally agree with that. It didn't seem like Lincoln was the main character, actually. It seemed like it didn't have to be 3 hours either. The scenes with Lincoln and his family were almost filler, and the main points were the courtroom when they were figuring out the 13th Amendment.
Yeah, for sure. And also, I felt a lot of it was just it just went on for too long, mm-hmm. And I wouldn't recommend this to anyone who's looking for a great time for entertainment. Right. But I would recommend this to someone who's wanting, or someone who's learning about Lincoln for a school project or something, or someone who's just really into history. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't recommend it to anyone who's just oh, let's watch a fun movie.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Thaddeus Stephen as a character, who was played by Tommy Lee Jones. He had more of a character arc. It was revealed that he had a relationship with his maid. He had such he had such a just more of a character arc than Lincoln even had in the movie. It felt like we didn't see any change between Lincoln in the beginning and Lincoln in the end, but we saw this gradual moving and like this reveal of more character in Thaddeus Stephen. Honestly, I agree with you, Georgia. I don't see anybody watching this for entertainment unless you're like a history buff or something. It's not really that entertaining, in my opinion.
And also, I think one thing that we both agree on is the way that they talk. Like, their language is a bit too formal for us.
Yeah.
And since it takes place back when it did, so I guess that works. But at the same time, watching it now, it was hard for us.
It doesn't really translate.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Well. It's almost like Shakespeare.
Yeah, only some scenes were like really entertaining. Like when they were in the courthouse arguing. Yeah, that was really fun to watch.
One scene that was really good and empowering almost was the last scene in the courtroom when they were all deciding on the bill, and you got to see who was voting for their team and who was voting against, and it was really emotional and felt really powerful.
Yeah. I think that wraps up our review. Thanks for watching.